So again, thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm assuming everyone can see this. Lynn, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. So this is the Bullhorn 2021 to 2022 orientation. And it's hosted by me and Lynn. We're both this year's co-presidents of the Bullhorn, a student-run newspaper. And we are so excited for everyone that is here and just to get started. So Lynn, I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Yeah, can you present the slides?
Present, got it.
Yeah.
Can you see it or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then I really want to make it, we can have a quick meeting and I want to be very straightforward and transparent with everything. So today on the agenda is really about what is the Bullhorn in the first place, and then introductions of people who are currently in staff. And then Andreas, I see you, he's here. And then all of our departments, especially 2 new departments that we added under our leadership. And then we're going to have 2 Q&A sessions where people can ask questions. If you have questions in the chat, put it in the chat if you don't want to say anything. And we want to talk about commitments and benefits along with joining the Bullhorn, because we really want a lot more committed members than last year. And then we will do a closing and I will introduce the application process, which is very quick. And it's just a position just to see what your interest is at. And then we will reach out to you around early August to late August, depending on what's the time schedule during our meetings. But then this is just basically our agenda for today.
Yeah. So one thing that we want to go over is what is the Bullhorn. So there is some previous members, of course, they know what the Bullhorn is, but there's a lot of new faces today. So I'm just going to go over real quick who we are and what we are. So I'm going to read this little blurb right here. So the Bullhorn is an entirely student-run newspaper that aims to, give someone joined, sorry. To give voices to other students who may not have a voice otherwise, because we all know in the school district it can be really hard to express ourselves, especially in certain schools and in certain environments. So the Bullhorn is that platform. We like to be totally transparent and present issues or write about issues that are going on in our day-to-day lives, and also just create a connection between a lot of students in the school district. One thing that me and Lynn were talking about is how we would have never met if we weren't in the Bullhorn, because they're from Central and I'm from Kappa, and I don't have a lot of interaction with Central kids or just anyone that is not from Kappa or anyone around me. So this just is a great place to, have those connections and build those connections up.
Wait, can I add one thing? Yeah. So I think that with this being student journalism and it's completely independent, I really want people to understand that a lot of the times our opinions aren't valued in the city, especially in the school district, and then oftentimes we feel disconnected from each other. So I think that this is a moment where you have an issue at your school, you have an issue in your neighborhood, you have an issue somewhere, and you can talk about it. I'm not going to be oh, what you are talking about is irrelevant, I don't want to post it. So you can be talking about how oh, the swimming pool down the street didn't want to take you in because of something happening. Write about it and I'll post it on the I'll post that article tomorrow if you send it to me. Right. And then there's also people who will support you throughout the process, because we have created something where everyone should be held accountable for their role. And I'll make sure that we will accommodate any needs that people have. So if you have an issue with someone, if you have some communication problem, just reach out to us and we will help you out as soon as possible, because we want communication to be incredibly clear and make sure that no one feels oh, they're left behind. No one feels oh, I'm not part of the Bullhorn, I'm just here to write something and then that's it and I'm a dip real quick, right? So I just really want people to understand that no adults are running this. It's all just us. And we're all just high school kids and we're around the same age. So you can criticize us and I'm not gonna be why did you say that to me, right? So if you're saying that there's some issues going on and you don't like it, tell me, tell Caitlin. And if you don't like me, tell Caitlin too. Something like that. I just hope that people understand that this is just a chill environment where we're just really want a platform where we can show our art, our stuff, and everything that we feel is incredibly proud, and we want the city to see it too, right?
Yeah, we want to create that equal standing with each other, because we don't get that on a day-to-day basis with people who are probably higher authority than us or anything like that. At the end of the day, like Len said, we're all students we're doing this together and we just want to create that community.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
want to go over introductions real quick. First of all, we have me and Lynn, who are presidents of the Bullhorn. We both are co-presidents this year. And there are some other heads in our newspaper that we also want to introduce you to. So I think Zion is here. Zion is head of outreach, and if she can unmute, she can introduce herself real quick and what she does in the Bullhorn.
Hey, I'm Zion. I'm a junior at SLA Beaver, and I am currently the director of outreach, and I work really closely with Riley, who's the director of communications.
And Andreas, who is the head of communications, I believe. Andreas, if you're here, introduce yourself and just like what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Andreas. I'm a rising junior at the Academy of Palumbo, and pretty much I'm the chief of organization, which means I'm making sure all the reporters and assistant editors and editors are like on track and they know what they're doing and they know when everything they have to do is due.
And then last but not least, we have Kara, who is going to be the chief editor this year.
Hi guys, I'm Kara. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna see all of your articles. So I'm the last person that'll see them, and once they're all good to go, then I'm publishing them, and then you'll see them on the website.
So right now, that was a lot of information to take in, really quick information too. Does anyone have any questions? You can unmute, you can put them in the chat. Just over that little basic introduction of like who we are and some of our members of our team.
If folks don't have questions right now, just along when we're presenting, you can put it in the chat. Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. So commitment to the Bullhorn. When it comes to the Bullhorn, there's just one thing that we want to remind everyone: just be happy and keep motivated. We're all students at the end of the day, so we all have our own responsibilities. A lot of people, this is our first year going back in person to high school this coming year, so I'm pretty sure all of our schedules is going to be a mess figuring out the first month or 2 months in high school with just that whole transition process from being a year online to now being in person. So we just want to keep that in our minds. If like you're feeling burnt out a day when you're in the Bullhorn, if you're feeling like this is too much, communicate with us. We want you guys to have a very transparent and very like communicative and what's the word? Just a communicative like community with us within the Bullhorn. So with that, the commitment that we expect if you want to be part of the Bullhorn is, attending to every meeting we have. There's different departments that Lynn is going to go over later. And a lot of those departments have different responsibilities and different delegations and different commitment depending on what you're doing. So we just expect that, you attend every meeting that we have, attend group meetings that we have, maybe events that we do. And if you can't attend, of course, tell us. Another thing is that we are going to be communicating on this new communication system called Slack. If no one ever heard of it, it's very great. It's like Discord, if people know what Discord is. It's very much like that, just for workspaces. It's very good on the phone, on your computer, or anything like that. It's just for us to keep in touch. And one thing is just, again, keep open communication with me and Lynn, your team members, anyone that you are with or working with part of the Bullhorn. Because again, we just want to keep that transparent and open communication with everyone, just to make sure that our environment is as transparent as it can be. And remember, you can take a break. Like I said in the beginning, we are all students at the end of the day, and we need breaks mentally and physically from everything that goes on in our lives. Lynn, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, so I just think that one of the situations that happened last year under like a different leadership was like people just don't communicate anymore. Like you text them and then there's no response. That's when we're like, what happened to you? Like, is there an issue? How can we support you? So if you have any issues with like, oh, the monthly cycles, talk to Andreas. Be like, Andreas, I can't do this. And talk to him. He will help you out. Editing, talk to Kara. Like, Kara, oh my God, my editor's not communicating with me. Kara's gonna yell at them for you, right? No, she won't. I'll do that. But like, these people are looking out for you. They're the reason why they're like, oh, part of like the head of each department. So if you have an issue with like what your role is, and there seems to be like a huge issue with like another person, talk to these people. If you have a time situation, we will like know about it. And then you can maybe like leave for like a couple weeks because you have to deal with some family issues, and we will welcome you back with open arms the next month when you're like ready to work with us again, right? So I really want people to understand that we understand, because I'll probably be gone for like 2 weeks if I had some situation, but then I'll tell everyone so then they know where I went, right? So that's just something that I really want to bring up. So then like, this is the moment when like, I really want to talk about benefits, because I know that of course, anytime we do something, we gotta be like, what do I get out of it, right? Being like, oh, I'm writing a paper for you. I'm editing papers for you. I'm doing all this work. What am I getting out of it, right? So what are the benefits? I think that one of the things that we talked about previously is about meeting community, because one thing that we're planning on under our vision is the fact that we do not want every single person who works for the Bullhorn coming from magnet schools. Because I feel like a lot of the times in all certain circles in the city, everyone's from Masterman, everyone's from Central, right? And I don't really like that, because then it's like, oh, you're not meeting people outside of your school, right? You don't know anyone else other than who's in your school and who's at the other school. So I want people to understand that I met a lot of people, especially from SLA, especially from Olney, especially from Parkway. I know a lot of people because of the Bullhorn, and I really have like friendship with these people outside of the Bullhorn. So like, we're friends other than just like working together at the newspaper, right? So then that's something that's really nice. And then like, we offer like workshops from universities and experienced writers, editors, etc. So then we did a workshop with like the Temple News, and if you go, you get paid. Like, you get a stipend out of it, right? And you get to learn how to write a newspaper, how to do a pitch, and how to like, just like these writers who are in college, they will support you and they look over your writing and tell you if some things you need to work on, right? So then you're talking to these people. And then we also like meet people from like the chalkboard from these like major newspapers where they do work around the school district, and then they are able to come and tell you and give you information so you can do networking and do connections. So then you can talk to them and be like, oh, can you support me? Can you help me? Can you write whatever my recommendation letter or whatever? And then this year, we're doing something completely new that wasn't introduced last year. It was to print out our work and sending it all across the district. So we really want to like send these kind of, you know how like those scholastic like magazines that we used to have when we were younger? It's basically kind of like that for the Bullhorn. So we'll print everything out and we get to put them all together, and then we send it out to like all these schools, because we know a lot of teachers from across the school district, and we'll be like, oh, tell your kids to read these. Oh, send it to like your parents, send it to your community members, everyone read your work and see like, oh my God, you see your name on it. So like, of course we all feel kind of like excited when you're like, oh, this person wrote for my article on here, and then someone cares about something that I wrote and something that I spent a lot of time on. So we will definitely print out works for everyone who like.
And Lynn, if I can, let me just add something with that.
Yeah, you can.
Also, another way you can build like a community or connections with people, because there's a lot of people that I have met, or like bigger people that are doing a lot for our community just through giving my work out, and then them seeing the work and then contacting me because of that work. That's just another stepping stone and opportunity for people to see your work and then reach out to you that you never thought would reach out to you before.
Yeah, it builds like your portfolio, it builds your resume up, right? When you like do for that for like the first like Philly student run independent newspaper, right? And then I also really want to like make sure that Bullhorn was made with the purpose that we want to empower the youth voice. If we're not doing that, that's not the Bullhorn. I'll say that, period. When we're not like shouting out your work, shouting out what you did as a student of Philadelphia, that means that the Bullhorn is not doing their job properly, right? And then we need to go back to the drawing board and like kind of like reflect on ourselves and be like, what are we doing wrong, right? So then even if like you're not going into the newspaper world, because I feel like, oh, if I'm working at a newspaper, I have to be a journalist, I have to be an editor in like 10 years. You're not. I'm not, right? But then here's the thing, I'm using this opportunity to communicate with people in my field. Like I talk to people who I want to be in careers with, right? So then this is a time where I'm writing much better now and I'm able to talk to people and I'm doing this work. I'm basically managing like loads of people, loads of staff, trying to get things together, emailing people all the time. So it's like giving me a learning experience. So I hope that even if you don't want to be working in the newspaper field, you are also gaining like experience and basically skills in the first place, because we will be using a lot of stuff that a lot of like people in the adult world is using. Caitlin, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing I want to emphasize is networking. This is a term I hear a lot because I'm in the Bullhorn, but I started not as a writer. I was never really a writer of the Bullhorn. I did writing here and there. And when I started off as like a graphic designer for when we had a designer website. I did a lot of like social media, like email supervision. This is stuff that like I need to learn for when I get older. And especially with networking, meeting people around the city is so great because then you never know what they're going to do like 10 to 20 years from now. They can do something completely big. And then since you know them, you have that connection with them and you can get in touch with them and they could help you out later in life. That's just a great thing about networking and just communicating and talking to different people within our community.
Yeah, because a lot of people who didn't know what to do at the Bullhorn who graduated, they legit went into communications because they did Bullhorn. Like they were just like, I want to be a journalist. I want to talk to people. So then a lot of people did choose that career when they did work with us at the Bullhorn. So if you don't know what you want to be, maybe try this out and maybe you will find out what you want to be, right? So the next slide. Do people have any questions? Because later I'll be going through the departments. So all the questions I will answer this. All right.
Yeah.
How do we do Bullhorn Slack?
Okay, so I'll answer that. So with the Slack, that is going to be after the application process. So once you apply for your position, once you do all that stuff that Lynn is going to go over next, which I guess I can stop sharing my bad. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so Lynn can get the application up. Once we give out the application to everyone and you apply for a position, you hear back from us probably from a week or two from now into what you're doing. We are going to send out a Slack for everyone. And basically the Slack will be our communication system. So you're not going to get access to that now, but it will be sent out once you apply and do all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Do anyone have any other questions?
Yeah. This is the application process. I will tell you, please ask questions if you do, because it is a long application, not for those who are applying, because if you pick the department, then you just have to answer their questions for that department. But there are a lot of things that went into this application that, just so you know, if you have questions, you can unmute or just ask them. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start. So this is basically the position, like basically the application Google form. We will send this out after I finish explaining and we'll put it in the chat. So save it, send it to your friend, send it to your dad, send it to anyone you know, basically, right? And then, okay, so the first idea is that we have 6 departments at the Bullhorn. So then the first department is pretty basic. It's like editorial. It's pretty straightforward. The editorial department does the editing part of the newspaper. You edit the works of the reporter and then it will be uploaded onto the website. So you'll be working with Kara and Andreas a lot. You will be like, what's going on? They will teach you everything. So even if you don't know how to edit, they will help you out with everything, basically. And then the communications situation includes outreach. So you will be talking to Zion, you will be talking to Riley, where they were basically controls the social media and the emailing campaigns of the Bullhorn. So you'll be interacting with different people and organizations who want to collab with us and work with us in future events, future webinars and stuff like that. And you can also apply with for an outreach position, which includes organizing outreach. So basically talking to teachers that we might want to send our prints to, right? So you're going to be talking to a lot of people for this for this position. Journalism is basic too. The journalism department is basically you have to write something for every month So basically anytime Andreas sends out like the schedule, like the monthly schedule, you will see that, oh, when do you have to send your editor your idea? And when do you have to have the rough draft by? When do you have to have the final draft by? So then this will be like the time where like every month you have to write about something. And we have 7 beats. So basically 7 themes under the journalism thing. So one of them is talking about the school district and talking about public education in Philly. So the 404. So if you write under that beat, you have to write something about that. There's a beat about sports. There's a beat about Philadelphia. So write anything about Philadelphia under that beat, right? And then around every month, we'll have a monthly meeting where people sign up for each beat. So then I know who's writing what for each beat. And then at the end of the month, I get these articles and then Kara can upload them onto the website. And then translations. This is a brand new department at the Bullhorn. So we want the Bullhorn to be more accessible to people, especially immigrant communities, especially non-English speaking communities, right? I feel like a lot of the articles on our website are in English. So think about how like, oh, you wrote something really great. You get to translate that into Spanish and Mandarin. So then like people like who speak those languages can use it. So I really would appreciate to see a lot more translators on the team and be able to translate all these articles that we're producing out from the journalism department. The next one is the design department. So Caitlin, do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so the design department is also a new department this year. So it's the art and film, but I'll go over both of them. So the design department is basically going to be split into 2 things. One is designing prints. So, you know, we have our design on the actual website and everything, but when it comes to transferring that to a printed copy, it is totally different. So there is going to be a section of the design department that designs the seasonal. We decided on seasonal prints for the Bullhorn. So every season, a new print comes out of the Bullhorn. And then there's going to be another section of the design department where people can design flyers and posters for Bullhorn events that we will be doing that will be then spread out from the communication team and outreach team onto social media or different contexts that we have. And that's basically what the design department's doing. Then for the art and film department, so on our website, which we probably should have shown our website, but on our website, there's an art and poetry section. We also want to start putting like film projects together for our YouTube. But basically, anyone in the art and film department will be solely focusing on collecting artwork and poetry submissions or film submissions from anyone around the district, just honing in on that. Any artists, especially that you see in your school that you know you really want to get their work out, or any poems that people made that you really want to see get their work out. Just basically like honing in on collecting those things from talented artists, filmmakers, poets, musicians, etc. That's your role.
And I do know that some folks in this call like art, like film. So then this can be an opportunity where you get to work around that and you get to talk to people who are doing similar work that you like in the city. And basically you are able to organize it together and we can put it onto YouTube, put it onto our website. And it can be a portfolio.
Can I add one more thing? I'm an artist myself. So I go to Kappa and I major in visual arts. So I am totally going to be hands-on in this department when it comes to anyone that's part of this. So it's just amazing seeing other people's artwork, especially from my point of view, or just other people's poems or just their fields of creativity with this department. So this is going to be an excellent department to work in.
Okay, now I'll walk through the beautiful Google form that we created. So basically, you're me. So I'm applying. I'm like my email, my phone number, my school, my current grade. So basically, what grade are you going to in September? That's the current grade. And then like what new previous member? I was a previous member. This is when like the magic happens. So if you want to work in editorial, right? You want to work with Kara. You love her. So then you go to the next. This is basically for the editorial department. So you're only gonna see this. So there's gonna be like each position. So then the beat editor they will describe what they do. So there's different types of beat that you wanna be in, right? So then you pick one. And then there will be like first, second, third choice because we want to like know what is like your first choice, what is your second choice. So if we can't give you the first choice, I'll give you the second choice, right? Assistant editors. So then like this is like the work that they do, right? So then this is what you want to do, right? So first choice, second choice. And then why do you think you're good? You can write anything. Just be like, I'm organized. I can communicate well. I'll be there. I'll be honest with you, right? So then that's it. So that's for communications. But however, you don't want to be in editorial, right? Because you hate Kara. So then you love like journalism because you want to work with me because I'll be in the journalism department and I'll be working hands-on with you guys. So you want to write. So then now you're seeing the journalism department. So you're not going to even see that, editorial department application anymore because you picked journalism, right? So then now you're like, what do you need to do? Oh, you have to sign up. This is all the stuff you have to do as a journalist at the Bullhorn. Why do you want to be it? Tell me how passionate you are. I'll be like, yes. And then talk about what are you interested in, top 3. So then we know, oh, you're going to be part of this. You're going to be doing work around this. And then this is optional. Everyone goes to school, right? Everyone writes papers, right? So if you feel like this paper is really bomb and you want us to read it and we want to look over how you write, send it. But you don't have to.
I just want to interrupt you, Lynn. So a person put a thing in the chat. A question in the chat. And the question is, can you pick more than one thing? And I'm assuming that means, can you pick more than one department? And I'm gonna say you can pick like up to 2 departments that you're interested in. You just got to do the form 2 times. I'm sorry about that. You just got to do the form 2 times for the first department you're interested in and then the second department you're interested in. And when me and Lynn are putting together all the stuff, we will make sure to mark that. Like if you apply 2 times, we're going to put the 2 departments you applied to, why you applied to it, all of that. So yes, you can apply up to 2 departments if you so please.
Yeah. So this is like basically the magic of this form. If you press something, they will only show you this application. So this is the one for translations, if anyone is interested. We can only offer 2 right now. So if we are able to like get bigger and we feel like it's more concrete, we will do a 3rd language. Like I promise you, we will do a 3rd language if we have to, right? So then this is just basically the application itself. And then, do people have any questions about how the applications work? I feel like I said it pretty clear.
Does anyone want us to go over a specific part they are interested in? Lynn, if you can go to the beginning again to like all the departments that we offer. Does anyone have any specific questions about any departments or about you want to see one thing on the application form? If you apply to one department other than journalism, could you still write articles?
Yes.
Lynn? Yeah.
So you can, but I'm gonna be real with you. If you feel like, oh wow, you have to write an article every month, but then you're also doing other work, if you can handle that, do it. Go ahead. I will not be stopping you, right? But I hope that people understand, oh, the workload that you're signing up yourself for, don't like overwork yourself, right? I would not do that, right? For my personal sake, right? Will the Bullhorn remain 100% virtual in the upcoming year?
I can answer that. So me and Lynn have a kind of vision. We are going to stay virtual when it comes to meetings, 100%. We cannot get people from SLA, Central, Northeast High School, all these different community high schools into one area at the same time. That is going to be impossible. So when it comes to meetings with your team, workshops, anything like that, they will 100% be virtual, 100%. Now, we are planning to have certain events in the future. So me and Lynn want to try, this is not 100% definite, but want to try to have some in-person events, and that may be later in the year once we see how everything goes, especially like now with things like kind of really easing up with COVID and everything like that. But for now, yeah, 100% virtual when it comes to meetings or anything like that. When it comes to Bullhorn event, it might be like 50-50, 50 virtual, 50 in person.
So like pretend an event where you're going to like a talk, and this is like we will be like optional. Like I'm not gonna force everyone to go because I'm like, you can't go, right? If you can't, right? So it's just like opportunities where I'm just like, oh, there's this thing going on where this person's talking about his career, talking about the work that they're doing. I'll send you every information. Wait, Mia, you raised your hand. Do you wanna ask a question?
Yeah, I just was wondering, about sort of like commitment things for this. So I understand that you listed out, but like what do you say a time commitment on a typical week would look like?
Okay, so like from like, I can't speak for all the other departments, but from like a journalistic department.
Hold on, wait. So Mia, what department are you interested in? Because that would help us way more.
Yeah.
Probably either editorial or journalism.
You can speak on that.
Okay, I'll do journalist, and then Kara, you can talk about editorial, like if you want to go over that. So from like a journalist perspective, you have to be like, Andreas posts the month calendar out, and then it's like on pretend Monday, right? That's when you have to put in your pitch. So I have 4 days for that. So I have the 4 days to have to think about what the pitch is, and I have to send it to Kara, and then Kara's my editor, right? And then she tells me, great, do it. And then I have to I have to write for 3-4 days for the rough draft. And I send it to Kara, and Kara's gonna read it, and she's gonna tell me, oh, take this out, or put this in. This is a good suggestion, oh, I like this, whatever. And then I finalize everything, and that's the week. So then that's the month, basically. That's it for you as a journalist. So basically just getting one paper out. And then I think that if you want extensions, do it, right? But I think for like commitment wise, I would have at least one meeting per month where I'm just checking up on everyone, where I'm like, how are you doing? Did you set, like, if you didn't like put a article up, like you didn't send it to any of the editors, and even though it's your time and you saw the calendar, I will call you and I'll be like, what's going on? What's happening? What's the issue here, right? And then we can like communicate with the editor and give you more time to work on it. Basically, that's kind of like the commitment. It's pretty just, we have group chats. Like I feel like a lot of our communication is just through group chats. Like we barely see each other oftentimes. So it's just more about like, oh, you see something pop up on Slack, definitely answer it, definitely say what's going on. And I think that's pretty much the commitment. And being like, when we give you the calendar, you should be like giving us the article at the end of the week when we like, oh, give you the time period for like, oh, when everything is due by, right?
Yeah, and then Kara, you can speak on editors.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So for like editors, depending on like which one you apply to, because there's assistant editors and there's also like head editors. So you'll probably be seeing at least a couple of articles in the month coming through, depending on what beat you sign up for. And then it's not really like, you're not writing a whole entire article from scratch. It's not the same. You're just gonna be looking for like grammatical errors, making sure it sounds good, like making sure it has a nice flow. So it's not as difficult. You're just gonna be seeing a lot more articles. But like Lynn said, there's gonna be a calendar. So we're gonna probably meet. I want to be able to check in with y'all, make sure everything's going smoothly, and then I might want to do that. Like, I'll check in like at the end of a week. I'm gonna try to do that. Just check in, see if everything's going smoothly, making sure you don't have any questions and stuff like that. And that can be like, we could meet on Zoom, or you could just text me, or you could just hit me up on Slack. I'm fine with communicating either way. I just want to make sure I have that line of communication with you. And then as long as everything's all good with the articles, just send them my way. I'll make sure they're all good. And then, yeah, at the end of the month, everything's ready to go. That's just the point. It just has to be ready by the end of the month.
Yeah, like maybe like for my monthly meetings, I'm usually meeting with the journalist. So basically, if you're an editor, you might not even see me that often. You might see like Kara more often. Oh, if you're doing certain work, you're gonna meet different people more often than meeting just me. Oh, every month you're gonna just see me and I'm gonna tell you what's going on, right? Because I'm not like handling that. So then Kara's handling everything that's editorial, basically. Don't come to me and ask a question, because at the end of the day, I probably don't know as much as Kara does, right? But then like other things, just like ask certain people.
Yeah. And there was another question which Sophia asked, would you recommend applying for 2 different departments instead of just one? I would recommend you can apply to 2 if you're having trouble, like, oh, I would want to be an editor, but I would also want to be a journalist. And then of course, like, me and Lynn would decide like what fits best. We'll probably have like a meeting with you, or like send out an email or something. But I personally, I don't know about Lynn, I would recommend just one. That just makes it easier for everyone. If you're very passionate about editing, or you're very passionate about, helping people in the district when it comes to art and film and showing their work, then apply for the department you're most passionate about. Lynn, advice to that?
I'm completely different from Caitlin, so take my advice with like that. Like, I think do it. Like, if you feel like you can handle it, do it. Like, if I feel like I had more time, I would do 2 departments too. Like, I feel like I can like edit and I can write at the same time. So I think that if you feel like you can handle it, which I feel like you can, Sophia, since you're asking that question, you can do it. Like, I will support you. And if you do it, I would like honestly be like, okay, go ahead, I'll give you 2 positions.
Yeah, it depends. Like, me and Lynn have totally different opinions.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, it just depends on like how much you want to put on yourself, and also like how committed you believe you are to one department. If you just want to solely do one, then just pick one. If you're thinking about doing 2, or maybe you're like in between 2, then pick 2. It's just a matter of communication. Yeah.
Yeah, and then one question about like, so how fluent do you say a translator has to be in a language? You look at English, you can make that into Chinese, you can make that into Spanish. You don't have to translate word for word. Like, being like, oh, you don't have to say that, right? And if you, like, for the Chinese department, if you need help, come to me, because I'm fluent in Chinese too, so I'll be helping you. Spanish department, talk to Caitlin. Caitlin's fluent in Spanish, so there's a reason why
I'm not fluent, but I can
like,
definitely
she can like
help
you. She can help you, right? She can help you, and then other translators will be there too, so that you're not alone in the process. Like, you're gonna meet other people in your department, so you're not gonna be like, oh, I'm by myself. So if you don't understand anything in your department, talk to the other person who's working the same job as you and be like, what's going on, what's happening,
and
they
just
will.
just to add to you, Lynn, for about every department, some departments don't need this, there will be workshops to help you build on your skills within your department. Like, especially for journalism, we will have workshops with other journalists. Past workshops we had was with Temple News, like people from Temple who do writing on a day-to-day basis. There will be workshops, and there will be opportunities for you to build on your skill within your department.
Yeah. And then me and Caitlin will try to like have a workshop for every department. Like, I hope to like, me and Caitlin will be emailing our ass away, and we will like be finding opportunities for everyone, because I feel like everyone deserves that other than the journalism department. So yeah, if you don't feel like you know anything, we will support you, and people who have done this before will help you too. So you won't be in it alone. Any other questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Any other questions, you can raise your hand, you can put them in a chat about any departments, anything in your mind, you can ask away. We're here to answer.
Mm-hmm. Anything? Okay, not anything? All right, I'll give it back to Caitlin where she will do the closing.
You have to share on my screen. So let me go back to sharing my screen real quick. Give me one moment. I won't put it in presentation because this is the closing. So contact information. So I just want to emphasize, like, thank you everyone who came. I am extremely happy that a lot of people are RSVP'd. I need to speak right. And just came today and got to know more about Bullhorn, you know, the application process and everything like that. Lynn, if you could put the application one more time in the chat, or it's right there as well. Our website's on here. Lynn, can you put all this information in the chat as I'm going on over it? Yeah. So we have our website. Please check it out. Look over it. That can give you an idea of, you know, what articles you will be writing if you choose to be a journalist. Kind of give you an idea of like how the website is structured, what we do, what we publish on there, all of that. Our Bullhorn email is the bullhorn215@gmail.com. You can email us there, or if you choose to talk to me and then more privately, you can email us at our personal emails. So, you know, my email is rodriguezcaitlin016@gmail.com, and then Lynn is Lynn. I'm guessing that's .l.lynn2224@gmail.com.
Who know me? Hold on. People who know me, I'm gonna just give you guys my Instagram. just like DM me. I feel like a lot of people here just know me like from not an emailing situation. Just DM me on Instagram and I'll answer you.
Yeah, and you can do the same with me. And you know, Kara just put her information in the chat. Andreas put his information in the chat. Sorry. Kara, if you want to put your information in chat, Zion, if you want to put your information in chat, you can just talk to any of us if you have any questions beside this. I think that is it. This is all our social medias.
Follow the Instagram. If you have Facebook, follow the Facebook. If you have Twitter, follow the Twitter. I want more followers on these accounts. Come on. And then, yeah. Anything?
Hold on, let me real quick. That is my Instagram. I'm gonna stop sharing. But yeah, just thank you everyone for coming today. Lynn, do you want to say anything that I didn't say already? Oh, when we were here. Oh, I just saw a question. Sorry. When would we hear back from applications? Lynn, do you want to take that question?
So we're having another orientation like early August. So I think latest that we will be is before school starts. So then like mid-August, we will get back to everyone. We will send you guys the Slack. If you feel like you don't want to do it no more, text me and tell me and I'll cry about it. So then like, so basically anything around that. And then I want to put something in the chat is like the presentation. So if you want to look over some stuff that we went over and you feel like you want to look at it again, this is the presentation. But yeah, anyway, I'll send the, hold on.
I would say early August, you would probably hear back. If not earlier than that. Orientation 2 is more for people who couldn't make it or anything like that. So like 2 to 3 weeks from now, because me and Lynn have to go over the applications and just make sure everyone is like in where they need to be at or want to be at and everything like that. So from 2 to 3 weeks from now, you will hear back from us. I hope that answers the question.
Any other questions?
What does the application like officially do?
Kayla, you can say something.
I would say the application is officially due for this orientation. I would give it like a week and a half from now. So what's a week and a half from now? I can't do dates or math. Not next Saturday.
I'll set a date.
Wednesday? Like the following Wednesday?
I'll set a date. For people who are in this orientation, since you came to the earliest one, I kind of will be like, damn, you guys kind of have a little bias, a little bit, you know, but I won't be that biased. But then like, give the application due by the 18th. Like I'll write that. Like send every information by the 18th and I'll be looking at everything around the 19th to the 20th. So then we will probably get back to you around by the 24th after we look at everything. Yeah, I might do that actually. Like you might just all apply and I'll just be like, okay guys, this is the Slack, everyone join. You know, like, so that's just like it. If anyone have any other questions.
Okay, so thank you for joining.